14 years ago. My dad was still alive, and my uncle was still alive. I was still living with them, and I was a security guard. And at the time, I was working at a county transit system bus terminal, and that's for where I first got the idea of writing a book. But some of the weird, after all this time, I still, every once in a while, think about some of the weird things I saw. Like, there's one guy, I got to know him, talk to him. He was a nice guy, he never gave me any trouble. A big guy. But every day, he'd wear one of these blue, either have a cell phone in his hand, or he'd have a Bluetooth headpiece in. And he'd always, before he got on the bus, he'd walk several laps around the terminal. He would always talk as loud as he could. One day, he'd be a gangster. He'd be talking about, he's acting like he's talking to somebody on the phone. And I got wise really quickly that he wasn't talking to anybody. Well, one day he's talking to somebody, and they're going to go get a crew together and go beat up somebody or beat down somebody. And, that'd go on for a few days. And then next time you see him, he's talking about, producing a hip-hop record album and talking to somebody about, hip-hop music and stuff. All the time he was somebody different. And he was just putting on, and he'd talk as loud as he could, and he'd look around and make sure people were noticing what he was doing. He was putting on a show. I think about that, I think about him, and then you'd be surprised how people that talk to themselves. And the funniest thing I ever saw in my life, there was this woman, a hearing impaired woman. I guess I hope she's hearing impaired. But anyway, she was talking to herself in sign language. Doing the whole thing. Nobody, not looking at anybody. She was talking to herself in sign language. I never saw anything like that in my life. It's the damnedest thing. Just people are weird. And that's what makes us all interesting, is because we're all bent in a way. And, that was working as a security guard. Years later, of course, I was homeless for a brief period. And then you really see some weird things. Sitting there waiting for a bed or a meal, and seeing all these people talking to themselves. Either they're whacked out on drugs, or drunk, or they're just nuts, or they're all of the above. And it's just things you remember. So, yeah, every day he was somebody else. And then you see things that, see some things that make you sad too. Some things that make you angry. Like the way people treat their kids. And I'm going to save that for another video. But anyhow, if you're ever out in public, put your cell phone down and just look and watch all the drama going on around you. Because a lot of times there's some interesting things to see. So, leave suggestions for what you want me to talk about. Subscribe to my content, and if you would subscribe to my newsletter. It's free. There's a paid tier. You can pay if you want to, but you don't have to. And check out my content. Yeah, I appreciate you. Leave suggestions what you want me to talk about, and I'll talk to you all later. Have a good day.